23-year-old right-hander out of California. And well, Mr. Quality, last 7 of the 8 starts, 3 runs or less, 6 innings, comfortable at home, 5-1, in fact, more than comfortable, I suppose. And he doesn't walk to a whole lot of guys, a little bit over 1.5 per start. 15 starts, 23 walks.
And he gets ahead of Marco Scutaro. 0-1. 15 starts with that 5-3 record. And as Jim mentioned in our game open, all 5 wins here at Oriole Park. There's a bouncer that is fair. Mora deep back of the bag. And the long throw across, he got him. So Melvin Mora, after winning last night's game, tested first batter of the game today.
Yeah, well, we know what he can do with the bat. And that ball right over the bag. And again, the strong throw. Scutaro with, again, this whole team leads the league in doubles. And Scutaro trying to lead off with one right there, but thwarted by Melvin Mora.
Thwarted.
Thwarted.
That's a good word. Here's Aaron Hill. Second in the league in base hits, and he takes a strike at the knees. Good spot.
And it's even a better spot if you're going to give a sinker ball or the low pitch. And we saw that to Scutaro and the first pitch to Aaron Hill, who's along with Adam Jones heading to the All-Star game. Roy Halladay also.
Slider misses outside, 1-1. Well, Ron Kolpa has the plate today. The crew chief Dale Scott is at first base. He is the only umpire not to have the plate in any of the 3 games in this series. Line to left field. Back on the ball is Reimold, and he has it for the out. And 2 men down.
Take a look at the Oriole defense on this sun-splashed afternoon. Reimold, you just saw him catch the line drive. Jones going to the All-Star game in center. Markakis in right. Mora is Sturis. Cesar back after the appendectomy. Second game. Roberts, Wigington, and the veteran Greg Zahn behind the plate today doing the catching.
Here's Adam Lind, 2 down, none on. Those 59 RBIs tied for 8th in the American League. Following last night's game, because Scutaro joined the group, the Blue Jays' top 3 hitters now each have at least 100 base hits. Scutaro, Hill, and here Adam Lind. 1-1 the count, a little low. He has really developed into a fine all-around hitter. Drafted in the 3rd round of 2004. Cito Gaston back with the team today after attending the funeral of his sister. Ryan Butterfield, the bench coach, ran the club for 2 days while Cito was with his family. This one skied to left. Reimold going back on the ball, still going back, and it's over his head, and it bounces against the wall. How about that power the other way for Adam Lind and a 2-out double?
Yeah, I think you're very fortunate because he can hit the ball out. We showed you that graphic with 45 extra base hits leading the American League. Well, there's another one. And again, this team, they came in with 196, now 197 doubles. That's 9 more than the Red Sox coming into this Sunday afternoon. And he could hit it out anywhere.
Here's Scott Rowland, the cleanup batter. He has been quiet in this series. He came in red hot. He did have an infield hit last night on a swinging bunt. It's his only hit in the series. Ferguson from the stretch for the first time today. There's a strike, 0-1. Scott Rowland, a seasoned veteran. He's in his 14th season now in the big leagues.
Yeah, 7-time Gold Glover. He's played very well at third base in this series.
Looking breaking ball.
Yeah, Brad Ferguson, his last start against Toronto was his 3rd start in the big league, so he was kind of learning what it's all about up here. Real good breaking ball right there, down and away. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and only a K. 90 pitches, 6 innings. The Orioles would go on to win, actually lose that game in extra innings. A little different pitcher.
Just inside. That's not a bad idea. Got a couple of calls there to the first 2 batters and tried to hit that inside corner at the knees, but it came off the plate.
Well, I think Brad and what he's done well. I mean, his last game against Seattle, he made a couple of bad pitches later in the ball game, but again, he was pitching against a guy, Jared Washburn, who was on his way to pitching a 1-hitter.
1-2 is inside.
So every mistake was glaring, and it started the first inning when they let Russell Branyan swing away 3-0, and he had a home run to left center field. His 21st home run of the season at that point. I think he had number 22 last night.
So 2-2 with Lind at second base, 2 down. Center field, Jones back on it, has it in his reach, and he has it for the out. Ferguson gets out of it, a double, and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the first at Camden Yards. Here come the Birds. Look at that vantage point. That is a gorgeous view on this Sunday afternoon. Blue Jays don't score. Southwest Airlines starting lineups for the Orioles. In the bottom of the first, Brian Roberts, Adam Jones, and Nick Markakis in the number 3 spot. Couple of doubles last night to raise his batting average at Oriole Park to .330. Salazar gets a start at DH and batting cleanup. Wigginton, Reimel, Demora with Zong catching, and Astouris at shortstop.
And our PNC scouting report on Mark Zepsinski. Now, if you can spell that, you can win the National Spelling Bee. Glowing major league debut. That was against the Rays down in Tampa Bay, and he pitched very well. 7 strikeouts, 21-11, very low ERA in the minor leagues, and then KZRS 277 in 253. Now they say 6'3". People have said, well, that might be a little bit wrong, but again, he's not an overpowering guy. Maybe 90, but can pitch backwards. That's what he did against the Rays. Of course, they're a very good fastball hitting ball club.
And he misses down and away to Roberts, 1-0.
So there's your sinking 89-mile-per-hour fastball. He's got a good changeup and breaking balls to go with it.
And there's a strike. Brian looks it over. Brian 1 out of 8 in the series. Batting average now at .271. It was at .294 a couple of weeks ago. Takes a strike at the knees, and it's 1-2.
And the one thing about Ron Kulpa, he has already identified himself as a low ball umpire, so you're going to have to deal with that, and that really helps both of these guys. Of course, we've only seen Zepsinski throw 3 pitches. And there's that breaking ball we talked about. 8 for 54 for Brian Roberts. So wants to have a good game and then get a little rest and charge up the batteries for, it's not the second half, but it's pretty much the second half.
Yeah, today is the Orioles' 88th game.
So what, they have 74 after this game.
81, you hit the midpoint.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, breaking ball. He just got a piece straight down at the feet of Raul Chavez. Zepchinski is from Riverside, California, and he is the 5th Blue Jays pitcher this year to make their major league debut as a starter. He joins Romero, Ray, Cecil, and Mills. First time the Blue Jays have started more than 4 rookies in a single season. And when they started 4, it was way back in 1977. That was the first year the Blue Jays were around. That's a fair ball to Roland, plays the hop, and guns it to get Roberts, and 1 away. Well, Adam Jones playing his final game here before he heads to St. Louis to join the American League for the All-Star festivities tomorrow, and then the All-Star game on Tuesday night. And without a doubt, he deserves it. They're the numbers on the season.
Yeah, and a lot of home runs early. kept the average up. We've talked about the fact that if you look in the last 8 games, all of those are singles, but a lot of multi-hit games, playing a terrific center field. He deserves to go. And it's going to be an exciting time. I'm lucky enough to play in 6. I guess ideally, if that ball's hit quickly and sharply to Aaron Hillis, you'd like to go and be an impact player. So let's take a look at the Toronto defense. They lead the American League, and pretty solid. Lind, Wells, 3-time Gold Glover, Rios, who can really throw and right, Roland, Scudero, who is with the highest fielding percentage of shortstops. We indicated last night. Hill's the all-star. Overbay, good defensive first baseman, and then Raul Chavez, who actually caught for the Orioles a couple of years ago. And he can throw. He's a hit and throw guy. Big double on Friday night in that 2-0 win.
Nick Markakis with 2 outs and none on takes a strike. Nick has hit in his last 2 games, batting average at .291. Orioles would like to see Nick and his home run drought, not quite as extensive as the Melvin Mora drought that was ended last night, but it's still been 23 games without a long ball and 94 straight at bats for Markakis. You get a feeling, though, that when the droughts end, they're going to start to come in bunches.
Well, you'd like to think that. I've always thought that Nick is just a quality hitter. He'll take that breaking ball that's going to hit home runs, but a high average guy.
Zepchinski gets him 3 up, 3 down. We'll head to the second at Camden Yards and no score. $9 worth of American Classic scratch-off tickets from the Maryland Lottery for every Oriole home run hit in the game today, and you can have a chance to win as well. Just enter by logging on to MassonSports.com. Brad Bergeson set to work here in the second, a 2-out double. He left them stranded. There's Vernon Wells for Toronto. Overbay and Rios will follow. Fastball is low. Vernon Wells, the face of the franchise for Toronto. Slow ground ball towards third. Moore's going to have to hurry. Throws off balance and not in time. That's an infield hit. Some effort by Melvin Moore. He was deep for the strong stroke of Vernon Wells, who has an infield single.
Yeah, he's coming so hard that he loses his balance. And watch him. He'll get down. And when he catches, he starts falling. So not much on the throw. I don't know if it made a whole lot of difference anyway. Vernon Wells, who hits so much better on the road, came in at 328, 172 at home. He smells base hit and beats it out. And it really kind of sets up this inning in a sense, because Overbay had come into Friday's night games at 3 for 37. So now you have that hole. Wells can steal bases. 13 out of 15. Got caught last night. It was 13 out of 14. But again, Bergeson can't run him. They have attempted 2 steals all year. He's just that quick to the plate.
1-0 pitches there for a strike, and 1-1. Well, Brad Bergeson trying to tie Jeremy Guthrie for the most wins on the staff. Brian Bass and Mark Hendrickson 5 wins each. Bass all 5 out of the bullpen. Hendrickson 4 of his 5, and Danny Baez all 4 in relief. Off the end of the bat towards center field. Jones will get to it. And Adam has it for the out and 1 down in the Blue Jays second. The Birds will return here to Camden Yards Monday, June 27th to begin a week-long homestand with Kansas City and Boston. On Thursday, June 30th, bring the kids out to Oriole Park. It is Family Day as the Birds will host the Royals at 12:35. Now, the first 10,000 kids 14 and under will receive an Orioles foam finger. Plus, every Thursday, kids 10 and under can receive a free upper reserve seat. Up to 2 free kids tickets per adult. For all the details, 888-848-BIRD or online at Orioles.com. And you know how much the kids love the foam fingers. We're number 1. We're number 1.
I get your point.
See, there they are. Look, the kids, they have the foam fingers.
And it goes with that University of Texas. Well, not exact match. A couple of oranges.
Yeah, they're a little burnt orange, right? Not Oriole orange.
Hook 'em horns. I think that's what they do down there.
That's what they do.
I am an A&M person.
I'm a Seton Hall guy.
No, I'm not. I didn't go to A&M. Oh. My wife did.
Oh, so you root anyway.
Happy wife, happy life.
There you go. I got
What's your favorite college? Texas A&M.
Rios takes inside 2-0.
Because she always talks about it when things don't go well. They Aggied it. That's it, when things don't turn out the way you want.
Aggied it.
Aggied it. That means things you lost.
Bergeson checking Wells and steps off. Jim mentioned the running game with Bergeson on the mound, and it basically doesn't exist. And he has done such an outstanding job. The teams are really not even running against him now. Wells doesn't go, and there's a slider outside, ball 3. Why is he so adept at that?
Well, I think he's very quick to the plate. I mean, that's one of the things. How quickly. The magic number is like 3.4 seconds, and that's the average base runner takes to get a primary lead, secondary lead to get to second base. So you need to get it to your catcher. There's your strike. And so if you're about he's about 1 second to the plate, and everybody keeps track of that. And so when you're very quick to the plate, and then Zani coming off elbow surgery, accurate arm, but not as strong as some of the other catchers in the league.
Wells is going, and the pitch is outside, ball 4. Toronto has 2 on with 1 down. First walk allowed by Bergeson, who averages just 2 per 9 innings. We were talking last night about Rich Hill and the base runners he allows per 9 innings, 16.5. Bergeson is at the other end of that. He allows only 11 per game, and that's based over 9 innings. Rich Hill did give the Orioles a chance to win last night. He left with a lead.
And he had a chance to win. Yeah, the bullpen giving up a run in the 8th on the roll and sacrifice fly.
Here is David DeLucci. Swings through it 0-1.
But Brad Bergeson is looking for something on the ground, maybe turn the double play.
Bergeson, 23 years old. He is the youngest of the Orioles starters. There's a strike.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency sometimes that when you look at your middle infielders, especially your second baseman, when they get into double play position, they move in a little bit. But right here, you want to make sure that Brian Roberts, because he wants to be able to get to the bag, doesn't cheat so much that a ball goes to his left into right field.
Ground ball towards first. Wigginton has it. Goes to second one. Asturias back to first. Out at first base. The double play is turned. That gets Bergeson out of it. Nicely done by Wigginton and Asturias, and Bergeson covering up. Base and a walk and 1 man left. We're led to the bottom of the second. Double play ends it. No score. Chatted with Greg Zahn and asked him about the mindset of the players for these final 9 innings today.
A real professional looks at every single day as an opportunity to, take another step forward. And, you're always out there to play to win. So, for me, the break happens when it happens. And until the game's over, I'm not on vacation. I'm still, here to do a job. And I hope the other guys feel the same way.
And you get the feeling if they don't, he's going to remind them.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
I didn't know he had his own personal line of hats. Did you see that? Number 9.
Well, he's got some golf trousers. A couple of weeks ago, he said, "What size are you?"
Wow.
Like 4 or 5 swatches of material.
So he's one of your people?
No, I'm one of his people.
Oh, I got you.
I wear the pants. So
I'm batting 8th in the lineup, hoping to get up this inning. Here's Oscar Salazar, who was DHing today and batting cleanup. Bouncer towards the middle. Scudero can't reach it. There's a base hit for Oscar Salazar. He is just a flat-out good hitter. Unbelievable.
Well, he is, and I think off of Mark Zebchinski, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have to cover the whole plate. He showed that in the first inning. So can you go out and get the ball? I mean, this ball may be a little bit more and up a little bit, not hit particularly hard, but again, if you miss your spot, and again, they have a very mobile defense, you're able to hit a little bit harder. And when I hurt my shoulder in like 1968, I'm up in the stands and I'm watching McNally pitch one day. And Mac, of course, won 20 games 4 times. He's keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate. And Brooks has been able to plug the holes. And Belanger's plugging the holes. And Davy Johnson's going up the middle. And it dawned on me that maybe if you stay out of the middle of the plate, they don't hit the ball as hard. And then the good defensive players catch the ball. I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, there's a luck factor, but if you don't let them hit it hard, it's a lot easier for your defensive players to pick you up.
The 1-0 to Wigginton is outside, 2-0, and you have a pitcher on the mound who is 23 years old and began the year pitching at New Hampshire in the Eastern League. That's the league the Bowie Bay Sox are in at Double-A. Made 14 starts there, went 7-5. Was promoted to Las Vegas in Triple-A, and in 2 starts dominated the 2 opponents. He was 2-0 with an ERA of 0.79. Different game at this level. 2-0 to Wigginton, a high fastball swung on and foul ball straight down at the plate, and the backswing may have gotten a piece of Ron Culpa. Ryan Ebel's going to come out and check on the umpire.
Now take a look.
Oh, it's the foul ball. The foul ball got him right on the mask.
Either that or above the mask.
Crew Chief Dale Scott comes in to check on Ron Culpa.
And obviously, if it hit him in the head anywhere, you're worried about concussions, things like that. Trainers have certain tests.
Culpa's a 10-year veteran in the major leagues. Born in St. Louis, where they will have the All-Star game coming up on.
Well, it looks like he's trying to take some deep breaths. I'm all right. Wow. Yeah, dead center in the mask.
And as Jim said, Brian Ebel, he knows all the questions to ask. And
like, who's playing today? Where are you?
Right. Who are you? Who am I? Well, maybe he has a little cut on the chin there from the impact.
Like maybe what, a septic pencil to stop the bleeding? A lot easier to shave and cut yourself than take one right off the middle of your mask.
And you just said, I'm all right. There's Jerry Meals, you see, he had the plate the other night. He'll go back to second base. So Ron Culpa shakes it off. When Justin Verlander pitched his no-hitter in June of 2007, it was Ron Culpa who had the plate that day. That's got to be some kind of a highlight for an umpire as well, because you're part of it for all 9 innings.
Oh, yeah.
So 2-1 on Wigginton with Salazar on at first. Oscar does not have a stolen base attempt on the year. Two 1 is a breaking ball low, ball 3.
Well, I think if Mark Zebchinski watched last night's game, and I'm sure he did, he realizes how good a high ball hitter Wigginton is. He got a couple hits last night, double and a single on high fastballs. So trying, and what they said was against Tampa Bay, where he only gave up a run and a couple of hits in 6 innings, he was able to change speeds very well when he got behind. And this is certainly one of those situations. Now, whether he'll be able to do that on a regular basis, that's the opportunity that is presented to you. But again, 1 run, 6 innings, only 2 hits, struck out 7. And the first rookie pitcher since David Clyde back in 1973 to do that.
Salazar runs hard at ball towards short. They'll avoid the double play, and Scudero gets it to first to get Wigginton. So on the 3-1 pitch, sending Salazar saved and out for the Orioles.
And a bullet, but right at Scudero at short.
Scudero, Jim mentioned, only 2 errors on the year, and you know, you might think, well, he plays half his games at Rogers Center. It's artificial turf. He gets true hops. Well, if you've seen the turf at Rogers Center, it is the worst artificial turf in the major leagues. So I'm not sure he gets very many breaks playing on it. He is just a tremendous fielder, works hard at it. Only 2 errors on the year. Here's Nolan Rimo back in the lineup after a night off last night. There's an off-speed pitch for a strike. Nolan was given last night off just to take it easy and rest his mind more than anything. Comes in 0 for his last 9 and 3 for his last 32.
So they've made some adjustments. I mean, he's had it sound like he's getting a lot of pitches in the middle of the plate he's missing.
Ground ball towards short. Salazar will have to hold. Scudero guns it across low, and a scoop by Lyle Overbay for the second out.
Yeah, a little cutter. You could see Marco Scudero's ball just kind of sailed a little bit. But Overbay picked it.
So Melvin Mora last night ended the home run drought, and we did a little research, Jim, to see just how many home runs were hit from when Melvin Mora hit his home run. That was in the 4th inning on May 7th against Minnesota. 13 different Orioles in 2,036 at-bats over 50 games hit home runs. Even Lou Montañez. In fact, Nolan Rimo at 9. He wasn't even on the team yet when Melvin Mora hit the home run on May the 7th. So that's kind of a story within the story as Melvin broke that drought last night.
And he did it in grand style, didn't he?
Walk-off home run. Zebchinski to him, and there's a strike. And let's go back to last night. First pitch of the at-bat.
Yeah, Jesse Carlson comes on, and there it is. A lot of happy fans. Happy Melvin. Nice slide.
He deserved it. Teammates were all happy for him. And who knows, maybe a big moment like that, he might take off. Here's the 0-1.
Well, he certainly did last year. He hit 23 home runs. He had 12 in the second half. You know, hit over 370, and he drove in, what, 56 runs in 47 games.
Well, Melvin now 37, and of course for the evaluators, meaning Andy McPhail and his staff, you somewhere along the line have to determine where a player is in his career. Is he just in a slump, or is he getting to the point now where he maybe can't reverse it?
And you never really know. Obviously, if he has a good second half, he'll answer that question. I mean, that's the constant battle you have as a professional athlete, whether it's baseball or any sport. When you get older, if you have an off year, is it because of your age, or is it because you had an off year? Now, I think it's a little, even though he's had years similar to that second half for the entire year, but that was a number of years ago. He still had a very, very productive second half of 2008. Had a little shoulder surgery. There are the numbers we were talking about that second half. That's where actually where he was. So again, a lot more home runs.
Bouncer foul.
And for him, and we talked so much, all the lefties, he kind of brings a quality to the lineup if he can start hitting some home runs, or at least extra base hits. The intention is to drive the ball up the gap, and if you do that often enough, you're going to hit the home runs. I mean, that's what last night's swing was all about. Ball up out over the plate. He thought it was going to be a double, just carried right out of Camden Yards, and the Orioles win 4-3.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. He got him. Breaking ball that is scooped by Chavez. He will tag him out, and that ends the inning. So base hit, the man left. Beautiful day for baseball at the Yard. No score. Book your next trip at southwest.com and by PNC. PNC leading the way. Beautiful sky overhead here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards on this Sunday afternoon. Final game before the break. 3-game homestand for the Birds, and when the second half opens, they have a 3-city road trip: Chicago, New York, and Boston.
Yep, that'll test your mettle.
3 tough places to pitch in. Raul Chavez for Toronto as we go to the third. Curveball for a strike.
Yeah, I haven't been to Yankee Stadium. I didn't do the first series. Buck Martinez did it, so I'm looking forward to that, in spite of what Kevin Millar said about it.
Kevin had an opinion?
Oh, yeah, he was on XM radio or whatever. He said just doesn't have that tradition. No kidding. It's brand new. But no, he said a lot of things. But it's apparently a great hitter's ballpark.
There are those who believe that the dimensions are not what they say they are.
And then the wind currents are probably a little bit different.
Chavez, Scudero, and Hill. Adam Jones heading to the All-Star game following today. Chavez down on 3 pitches. Good pitch by Bergeson, 1 away.
Yeah, when a guy doesn't recognize the breaking ball out of your hand, why not throw him another one? And if you make it an even better pitch, just kept going away, away, away. It's kind of like stair-stepping going up the ladder. So there you go. Just kind of waves at that slider off the plate.
Pitch Tracks presented by Northrop Grumman. Northrop Grumman, the information systems powerhouse. And we had some the folks here from Northrop Grumman today stop by for a visit. It was nice to meet them. We appreciate their support.
Oh, yeah. Ellicott City in Northern Virginia.
Here's Marco Scudero back to the top of the lineup. Scudero's had an amazing evolution, if you will, to become an everyday player, because it took him a while first to get established in the big leagues. And when he did, he was really a backup. He played for Cleveland and Milwaukee in the minor leagues. Finally, in 2002, he made his major league debut with the Mets, and in the big leagues, he's been with the Mets and Oakland and Toronto. And with all 3 of those teams, he was a utility guy until the Blue Jays needed him at shortstop, and he played so well, he took over the job.
And that is, it's easy to point out, but it's difficult to do in a sense, because what happens is, for most utility guys, when you play long enough, you get exposed. That's the reason you're a utility guy in the first place. But there are guys that, just because of circumstance.
That ball's hit well to left field. Reimold won't get there, and it bounces towards the wall. Scudero heads to second base. There's a 1-out double, second double in the game by the Jays. And they again have a runner in scoring position.
Well, that's what they do. They hit doubles. And for Scudero, that's his 27th double. I mean, he has gotten on base more either by walks or getting hit by a pitch or base hits than anybody in the American League. That's quite an accomplishment for shortstop. So Cito Gaston looks on. He likes the double machine, but the big difference is what the Orioles do so much better is runners in scoring position. Before this game, and you can add another one already, and now 2, the Jays had 830 opportunities to drive in runners, and they're only hitting 261. The Orioles have only had 692, and they're hitting over 300. If they were anywhere close to where the Orioles were, their runs would be way up there.
Toward shortstop, Esturas will look the runner back. Cesar got a nice hop there. Has it for the out. 2 men down. Fans, get online Orioles.com for your chance to win the Nolan Reimold T-shirt Tuesday VIP Experience Sweepstakes. A lucky winner will receive 4 VIP seats, VIP parking for the game, Tuesday, July 28th against Kansas City. Plus, you'll win 4 passes to watch batting practice right from the field. So don't miss your chance to celebrate Nolan's run for Rookie of the Year and experience Oriole Park in an entirely different way. Just get online and enter at Orioles.com. So Nolan Reimold has a T-shirt day coming up. There will be number 14s all over Baltimore. Here's Adam Lind. The Oriole T-shirt giveaways have become extremely popular, and it's really a lot of fun to be out and about. And everywhere you go, you see them everywhere. Koji this year, Melvin Mora.
Well, we can look down. Yeah, we can look down from the box here. And
Matt Wieters.
Let's see. Uehara, Sherrill, Mora, and you can just go all over. Roberts.
That looked like a Bill Hagee one.
Markakis.
Adam Jones.
Hunter.
Well, I got one. What's my number? No, number 1 is taken.
000. 000, Jim. Hunts. Nickname Hunts.
Well, it used to be.
Yeah, we're going to have to change that.
That was a high school nickname.
Hunts.
Well, I'm not going the route of Rockabacco. I refuse to be called Sweet Pea. We'll leave that to him. Too tight with a fastball. There's ball 4 to 4-pitch walk to Adam Lind.
Well, it tells you something about Lind, and Roland, of course, came rolling in here. You get that rolling in here with a 25-game hitting streak, hitting .330, and other than the sacrifice fly last night, they've handled him pretty well. Even though he hit the ball right on the nose the first time. And I think if you're Brad Bergeson, you have to go back to that at bat and say, okay, I got a little bit lucky, because if it's to the right or left of Reimold, it's a double. And try to stay out of that zone.
Goes after the first pitch and fouls it back.
Yeah, Brad Bergeson's a lot as we look at there we go before the All-Star game, and it's a pretty nice average. Tony Fernandez.
What a player.
Molitor's in the Hall of Fame. Sean Green.
Tony Fernandez, as an Indian player later in his career, broke Oriole fans' hearts. Bouncer to third. Melvin has to go off his chest, picks it up, and fires to safe at first base. Looked like he just got it there, and Dale Scott said safe.
Yeah, here comes Tremblay, because I thought he was out. One thing about Roland, everybody in this right here, pick it up and get it over there, and he does that. See, he's out. And Dale Scott gets the call wrong, and Tremblay's going to come out and let him know about it. Now, of course, he did get tossed up in Seattle, but he did miss that call. It was close, but the ball's in the glove before the foot gets down. Great camera work. You're out. Well, you're not, but you're supposed to be. That'll load him up.
So it'll cost Bergeson another batter. It's a very quiet discussion.
And I would imagine that would be an error on Mora.
And it is. So Melvin commits his 7th error.
And again, when you're pitching, reality is, even if he's out, he's not out. And even if Mora makes an error, it's just like giving up a base hit, except that a run didn't score. You have to somehow be able to get Vernon Wells out. You have to be able to compose yourself. And over the course of what I've seen in 15 starts, Brad Bergeson's done a pretty nice job of that.
off the end of the bat. Tough play for Roberts, but he gets back out there, has it for the out. So Bergeson picks up more, and the inning ends. Bases loaded to end the inning. We'll head to the bottom of the third with no score. Maryland Food Bank and find out if your favorite O's have what it takes in the kitchen and at the Orioles cook-off. Join Orioles players including Brian Roberts, Jeremy Guthrie, and Greg Zahn at ESPN Zone 11:30 until 1 as they compete in the team's first ever cooking competition. For more information, visit OriolesReach.com or for tickets 410-685-3776 or ESPNZone.com. Well, there's Dale Scott, the umpire in chief here. He is the crew chief, and Ron Coppa is going to have to leave this game. So we will have a delay as Dale Scott, it appears, will go in and get on his home plate umpiring equipment. And Ron Coppa, who was hit by that foul ball when Ty Wigginton was at bat in the second inning, he gutted it out for another inning, but he has to leave now. And it looks like we'll have a three-man umpiring crew for the rest of the day with the crew chief, Dale Scott, now taking over. And here's the play, Jim, and it got him right flush in the mask.
Yeah, Wigginton just fouls the 2-0 pitch square in the middle, and he goes down, cut his chin. There's Brian Abel, the Orioles assistant trainer, along with Richie Bancells.
Oh, Jerry Meals is talking with Lyle Overbay and Aaron Hill. Zepchinski, the pitcher, went back to the bench because you don't know how long it'll take Dale Scott to get ready, so he doesn't want to stand out there in the sun. And there's Zepchinski back on the bench. Well, we talked about Greg Zahn with the cook-off with Brian Roberts and Jeremy Guthrie, and we have heard on the street that Greg Zahn is the favorite going in, and we asked him about his secret recipe for his famous chicken enchilada.
It's not going to be made in my kitchen, so it may not measure up to what I do at home. But you go over there into the Blue Jays clubhouse and ask them about the chicken enchiladas, and you know, I'd bring a pan in from time to time. And I told them about it the other day, and they said those guys have absolutely no chance whatsoever. So if they have the right ingredients, I'm probably going to emerge victorious, and you'll be able to go down there to the ESPN Zone and sample the Greg Zahn chicken enchiladas.
So he is proud of his dish, but I'm wondering there, is that kind of like a built-in excuse before they might not have the ingredients I like just in case he doesn't win? Or
well, you know,
think he's confident?
I had tremendous rapport with my catchers, and so I'm going to kind of go out on the limb, so to speak. And he's a perfectionist.
Okay.
And we know if you're going to cook, you have to have the highest quality ingredients.
Now, we have to see now, Jeremy Guthrie prides himself on being able to cook, and Brian Roberts.
But veteran rookies, come on. Zani in a cakewalk, pardon the expression.
Well, and what they're all excited about is whichever of the three wins, ESPN Zone will add that to the menu. So you can go in and order the Greg Zahn recipe enchilada.
So let's see, what was it? Spanish tortilla. That was
Jeremy Guthrie.
Yeah.
The chicken enchilada.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Brian decided to.
No, Brian, yeah, see, he's
secret. They all wanted to make omelets, but ESPN Zone doesn't serve eggs.
Yeah. So Brian's probably got some executive chef. That's where he's going for the All-Star break. I can see this right now. Cooking school. Not.
Well, Greg Zahn will lead off here when we resume play in the third. We have no score. As the Orioles and the Blue Jays play the finale here before the All-Star break. So Mark Zepchinski is the Blue Jays pitcher, and as we saw, his name literally fills the back of his shirt. Now let's see, if you were in Scrabble and you wanted to spell Zepchinski, you would get 40 points just on his last name. That is amazing. Zepchinski. So you forget about the R, even though it counts in Scrabble. Zepczynski. Now, it is not as long as Saltalamacchia.
No.
Which fills up.
Which goes around. It goes around.
But look at that.
Yeah, Jared's uniform, actually, his name comes all the way around to the underneath the armpits. But here, that's
11 letters.
Yeah, you got to pump some iron to have a name like that because you got to have broad shoulders.
23-year-old rookie out of California.
Well, it looks like he has a nice feel for pitching. And anytime you are able to, the Rays were for the first couple of months, and they're right there, feel where the ball is. They were leading the American League in runs. They're now, I think, third or second. Yankees have taken over, but he one-runned them, struck out 7 in 6 innings. That was his major league debut.
Well, it's a pretty impressive climb when you consider that he began the year in Double-A with no knowledge of whether or not he would be promoted. And he did so well, he went to Triple-A. And now here in the big leagues, he's taking advantage of all the injuries the Blue Jays have had and taking advantage of it. Brad Bergeson was promoted in April. He's been here ever since. And, Jim, he is starting to really emerge as one of the elite pitchers in the American League. Here is the top 20 earned run averages in the American League. And there's Brad Bergeson. And look at some of those guys that are behind him on that list.
Yeah, a little different style. Obviously, Verlander, strikeout guy, throws 100 miles per hour. But I think I talked to Greg Zahn after he had the great spring talking about Brad Bergeson, and I said, Zahn, you've been around forever, the 14th, 15th year in the big leagues. I said, tell me about Brad Bergeson. He said, well, he's got to work on his slider, and he's done that. He's got to make sure he stays behind his sinker. He certainly has done that. But what I like is his enthusiasm and the fact that he can now pitch to both sides of the plate. I think he's still a movement type of guy. He'll actually learn to make better pitches as he progresses. And if you look, with a couple of exceptions, they really haven't scored a lot of runs for him. I mean, they got 11 on a couple of occasions, so you're going to win those. 7 on another one, you're going to win that. Left the Red Sox game ahead 5-1, 1 run in 8 innings against the Red Sox here at Camden Yards, which is anytime you can 1-run the Red Sox and outpitch Josh Beckett. You've done a great job. So it's such a team game, but when we talk about it so often, but you get the feeling that while some people say he may not be the best of the young pitchers that are coming up, he does so many things right that he's going to put the team in a position to win.
Well, we asked his catcher today, Greg Zahn, the veteran, about the rookie and what he likes about Bergeson and what he brings to the mound.
I liken him to Halladay minus 3 or 4 miles an hour. He doesn't quite have the stuff that Roy does, but he sure has the tenacity and the approach. And for a guy that's so young, he sure has a lot of mound presence.
Well, just that statement, he reminds me of Roy Halladay. That tells you a lot.
Oh, yeah. Halladay's going to the All-Star game. I assume they won't trade him before the Tuesday, but because he's been the talk of the baseball world, because he probably has more value than anybody around.
So while we wait for Dale Scott to get on his umpiring gear, let's take advantage of the opportunity and visit with Amber.
Well, Jim, today a part of the Utah Street bleacher section at Oriole Park has been transformed into Baltimore's hottest new address, 2110 Utah Street, presented by First Fidelity Mortgage. It's named for the uniform numbers of Orioles star outfielders Nick Markakis and Adam Jones. The section is the place to be for all Adam and Nick fans. For $21, you get a reserved Utah Street bleacher seat plus an exclusive I Live at 2110 Utah Street t-shirt. And Nick and Adam have been interacting with fans by throwing balls into the stands between innings. 2110 Utah Street for today's game sold out, so 3 more dates for the promotion have been added: Saturday, August 15th, Sunday, August 30th, and Saturday, September 5th. So don't miss your chance to take part in the fun. Order your seats at 2110 Utah Street today by calling 888-848-BIRD or visit Orioles.com. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. And we saw a quick shot of Anita Marks there from our radio flagship, 105.7. Of course, her and Scott Garceau on Every Day on Masson, their afternoon radio show. And there's the crew chief, Dale Scott, who began the day at first base. So he has now donned his home plate umpiring gear, and he has taken over for Ron Kulpa, who has left because of the injury sustained on the foul ball to the mask off the bat of Ty Wigginton in the bottom of the second. And I'm sure Ron now is getting taken care of by Richie Bancells and Brian Ebel and any of the Oriole team physicians that are here at the game today.
And you can see a lot of protection. Obviously the chest protector, also different shoes for foul balls.
So Ernie Tyler, a busy man down there, getting the Dale Scott home plate umpiring gear out, which was probably already packed.
Oh, definitely. As you mentioned, the only guy that did not umpire until just this moment behind the plate in this series.
So we'll have 3 umpires. Jerry Meals has moved to first base, and Mike DeMuro is at third, and the combination of the 2 will help out at second base. There's Mike and there's Jerry.
A spring training type umpiring.
So the crew chief, Dale Scott, now back of the plate. And we'll resume as Greg Zaun will lead off against Zepchinski. No score in this game. And it's outside 1-0. Ball 2. In his debut against Tampa Bay, Zepchinski in 6 innings walked 4. He has not yet walked a batter today. And it's outside ball 3. Now we're only in the bottom of the 3rd, but were the pitchers deep enough in this game to know the Ron Kulpa strike zone, and how big of an adjustment might this be to Dale Scott?
Well, he's got to get familiar. I mean, a lot of umpires that actually, when you're warming up, would sit behind the plate to get an idea of the movement.
Dale Scott is a 23-year veteran. He's been in the big leagues since 1986. And Zaun takes another one for a strike, so a full count on Zaun.
And look at the way he gets down. And does he get ready to call a ball or a strike? I mean, watch this. A lot of umpires that kind of get relaxed and all that. I mean, he's down there, and as you're ready to pitch, look at this right here. Okay, I'm ready.
Sharply hit foul right past Juan Samuel.
So is Zani. And he rips it foul.
There's a good look at that setup Jim referred to. Zaun has a 2-game hitting streak going, and he really has been hitting the ball very well since Matt Wieters was promoted to the big leagues. Here's the 3-2. It's inside of the breaking ball, ball 4, and there's a leadoff walk.
Yeah, he said when you're not playing a lot, and he struggled early, he was hitting as low as 118 early in the year. He said you just have to kind of slow everything down, shorten your swing, and that's what he's been able to do, and just kind of trust your hands. Good balance of the plate, and work with your hitting instructor Terry Crowley on a regular basis, and then take your chances. There's the Crow.
Now here is Cesar Estúriz with Zaun on at first and none down. And there's a strike. You may have seen Mike DeMuro, the third base umpire, move towards second base now, because if there's a ground ball for a chance at a double play, they want to be right near the bag. So Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, will have to be aware of any ball hit down the third base line, because right now that is unmanned.
Yeah, either for a double or even a home run.
Ground ball towards second. Hill has it. He'll go to second for 1. Scudero back to first, and not in time. Zaun upset him just enough at second base, and Esteuras, who runs well, got down the line.
Well, that's a perfect example. Even when you don't have overwhelming speed, if you get a good primary lead, secondary lead, you get down the base path, so you can. And you can see him.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, that's actually interference there, because now watch Stoney. He can't touch the bag. And you're supposed to be able to touch the bag with your hand, so they certainly could have called a double play there. So a little overzealous.
No, it was a good slide because he got away with it.
Yes.
So 1 down instead of the double play, and here's Roberts for his second at bat. Esteuras, without a doubt, a stolen base threat. It's not going to matter as that one gets away from Chavez, and Esteuras quickly down to second base.
Yeah, 9 for 9, so he'll just go on the wild pitch. And you can see Chavez try to block it. And you're taught again with a good lead. Boy, your momentum is going to second and easily into scoring position for Mr. Esteuras. Good to see him back.
So with 1 down, the Orioles have a chance for a lead. Roberts bounced out to third his first at bat. Good eye takes outside, ball 2. Bryan has 92 hits on the year. Adam Jones has 97, and Markakis has 101 to lead the club.
Well, Bryan with 30 of those hits coming from this side of the plate. 1 home run.
2-0 high pop foul. That'll be in the crowd down the line.
Well, the amazing thing about this ball club, they lost Casey Jansen, Sean Markham, Jesse Lish, Dustin McGowan, and they still, as you mentioned, have been able to bring up these youngsters. Orioles, of course, started with a lot different starting staff than they had originally. Cedar Gaston, of course, knows they still need to hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position, but some of these young guys are going to get a lot of opportunity to show what their ability level is at the major league level over the second half of the year.
Here's the 2-1 to Brian Roberts. It's low ball 3 and a nice scoop by Raul Chavez. Well, the opportunity is very important when your time comes, but from the organizational standpoint, it's very important to have that depth at every level. And you look at a guy like Zepchinski, he was their version of Jason Birkin. Began the year in Double-A, pitched well, got promoted. Birkin pitched well, got promoted when Bergeson came here, and now they're both here. So you have the depth in your system. You have some options to go to if the need arises, and the Blue Jays certainly have had the need with all the injuries. There's a base hit to right center field for Brian Roberts. Esteuras will score. Roberts hustling to second base, and he holds with an RBI double. So the Orioles get on the board in the third as Brian Roberts picks up his 41st RBI.
And 29th double of the season. On his way to 50 again, most likely. Nice approach right here. You see a guy for the second time. That sinker down and away. Nice approach. He just hits it up the gap, and Cesar Esteuras to make it 1-0.
So that a combined team run there. Esteuras hustling down the line on his ground ball. The zone slide at second base to upset Scudero's throw to first, and Roberts with the RBI double.
Yeah, Hill will come in to talk to Zepchinski. The amazing thing about the Orioles is that when you talk about Jason Birkin, who was 12-4 last year, he had to start at Double-A because for a first time in a long time, the numbers were so great at Norfolk that they didn't have a slot for him, at least early on. And then, of course, he was called up, only had a couple of starts, was 2-0 down here, and then to the big leagues. A good problem to have.
Here's Adam Jones. Takes inside, nearly hit him.
And then when you start talking, because every time we have a chance to go in the press room, you see a lot of scouts here scouting trade deadline in less than a month, the end of the month, and a lot of scouts here just raving about the Orioles' young pitchers, whether it's Tillman, whether it's Mattis, who I had a scout tell me he's ready to pitch in the big leagues right now, as is Tillman. Arrieta getting closer and closer. So it's just nice to have choices.
Well, here are some of the young arms on each of these staffs, Jim. The 3 rookies in the Blue Jays rotation and the 3 rookies in the Orioles rotation. And Zepchinski and Bergeson, the matchup today, 23 years old. They have seized the opportunity. And he nearly balked, but he threw it to the plate. His cleat got caught in the rubber. I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a job on two ends. Number one, Zepchinski to release the ball, and then Chavez to block it.
Yeah, it looked like he caught his front spike. You know, he's got a peculiar leg swing, and I think he caught it. Watch this, right there. See, it catches. You know, obviously he wants to stride another 6-8 inches to get square to home plate. So it catches, and then somehow he heaves it up to home plate for a ball. How about Chavez? What do you think he's imagining when he sees the guy stumbling, and then all of a sudden here comes a ball out of his hand?
Now Roberts is creating a big distraction for Zepchinski. I'm sure Aaron Hill reminded him about his ability to steal third base. He doesn't go, and Jones takes high, ball 3.
My second year, I did that in Chicago, lost my balance, and lobbed it up there like a slow pitch softball, and Tommy Agee hit it over the left center field fence.
Wow.
It's one I wish that I had been a little wilder. I mean, he literally took about 3 pumps and then hit a long fly ball for a home run. Pretty bizarre.
Roberts takes off. The 3-0 is outside, ball 4.
Yeah,
Roberts easily steals third base. Zepchinski never looked at him.
Yeah, welcome to the big leagues. And this is when you take advantage of the young pitcher. You make a nice adjustment at the plate, and then when you get on here, if you're a veteran, they're going to tell you make him stop. Well, see, you can watch this. A great angle right here. Legs coming up. He's already in the dead run, and Chavez behind the plate did exactly what you're supposed to do. Hold on to the ball.
That was some angle. He was almost halfway to third base, and Zepchinski still had the ball in his hand.
It's a terrific angle.
So first and third, one down, and here's Markakis, whose bat came alive last night. Breaking ball outside, 1-0. Zepchinski not only was not in Major League camp, he's not even listed in the Major League section in the Blue Jays media guide.
Oh, that's a balk. He could have easily called a balk there. Got to step to first base. I mean, that's kind of like stepping somewhere towards the dugout and throwing it back. Oh, by the way, I'll throw it over to first. There's a quick slide step.
Markakis to right field. There's a base hit for Markakis. Roberts will score. Jones flying around to third, and the Orioles have a 2-0 lead.
Well, there's some good base running. Obviously, you're going to just go back and tag at third, but Adam Jones, it is difficult on a hard hit ball unless you get a great read to get from first to third. Hanging slider, that's not going to work against Markakis. He's all over it. And a great read by Adam Jones because he's running all the way, even though Rios with a great throwing arm. So there's Brian going back to tag up in case the ball is caught. And that'll make it 2-0. So the prospects of a big inning here. And the Orioles third.
Brian scores his 63rd run on the year. Markakis picks up his 57th RBI. And the Orioles have a 2-0 lead, and not done yet as Adam Jones hustled all the way to third. Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, out for a chat. The Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays, with the 3 rookies in the rotation within the AL East, they are tied for the most rookies in the current 5-man rotations. The Tampa Bay Rays, the defending American League champions, they have 2. They have David Price and Jeff Neiman. The Yankees have 1 because Alfredo Aceves took over for Chen-Ming Wang, who's now the DL. Boston, none.
Yeah, and Chamberlain pretty much is, to me, a rookie because he's a reliever that, again, they said, you know, we're going to make you a starter. And he's been very ineffective, even though he's got great stuff. He just hasn't learned how to do it yet.
Here's Salazar. Breaking ball for striking. The philosophy of Andy McPhail, as he has told us several times, is you need to grow your arms because if you go out on the market, you just don't know what you're getting.
Never enough pitching.
Here's the 0-1 to Salazar. It's outside. And then, of course, you factor in how do you help your pitchers? You get guys that can catch the ball.
Well, the Orioles certainly have that in their outfield. And you're looking at one of them right there that's heading to St. Louis for his first All-Star game. There's another one that should be winning Gold Gloves. And
Salazar bounces it towards third. Rolen has it. He goes to second for one. Back to first. There's a double play. Zepchinski gets out of it without any further damage, but the Orioles take advantage of a couple of walks with 2 big hits. We'll enter the 4th at Camden Yards and a 2-0 Oriole lead. What a beautiful day in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. And the Orioles now have a 2-0 lead. Each team with 3 base hits. Birds trying to finish strong. They got 2 out of 3 in Seattle. Trying to get 2 out of 3 here from Toronto heading into the break.
So there, Mr. Bergeson, Bradley, Bradford. Oh, Bradley, Steven. There's your 2 runs.
Bradley, Steven.
Go get him, big boy.
Orioles have averaged 5.5 runs per game for Bergeson.
And it's a little misleading.
Off the bat of Overbay to second base. Brian Roberts will get it to first. 1 pitch, 1 down.
Yeah, when you get a couple of starts with 11 runs, you'll certainly take them. And another with 7. So there's, what, 39 runs right there in 3 starts. So the other 12.
You got to work for it.
Yeah, you got to work for it. And he's capable of doing that. So now all of a sudden you can relax a little bit. I mean, I used to always look at the scoreboard. They give me 2 runs. I go, well, they got to get 3. And if you're pitching well, again, it's not that you don't respect the opposition, and you're not going to walk a lot of guys and whatever, you'll take your chances. And then you figure if you come out after they get 2 runs and have a shutdown inning, then all of a sudden your guys get to grab the bats and maybe get you a few more. It's all about momentum in this game. That and execution. And there's your outside ball, and Rios is going, boy, that's a wide plate. And a lot of it has to do where the glove is and where the ball ends up.
2-1 on Alex Rios. Bergeson has walked 2. He has 1 strikeout. Rios now dropped down to number 7 in this lineup. He fouls it off.
Yeah, he almost has the same batting style, and it seemed like when Mickey Brantley was the hitting instructor that they all got into this crouch. And it's a pretty severe crouch.
The 2-2 pitch is fouled back to the right.
There's Gene Tennis, who was an outstanding catcher. He took over as a hitting instructor last summer.
Another 2-2 pitch, high ball 3.
So a couple of walks. I think the one last inning was almost a pitch around to Adam Lind. Not that you want to pitch around him to get to Rolen, but he felt more comfortable pitching to Rolen.
High fly ball, center field, a long way out there. Jones back, and in front of the bullpen, he leaps, and he's got it. Adam Jones takes a home run away from Alex Rios.
Well, we saw Luke Scott do it last night off the bat of Vernon Wells. So there you go, playing a little deeper, able to get to it easily, and it's just a matter if you get there in time, and you could see never ever lost track. That ball definitely going over the wall. There's a great angle right there. The camera along the wall that shows you that ball would probably have gone a couple of feet over.
Well, 2 down. Here's DeLucci, and there's exactly what you were just talking about encouraging the hitters to put it in play, because you have guys behind you have confidence in can catch the ball.
Well, that's very much. It's much easier to pitch to contact when you know you have guys that are going to catch the ball, as you mentioned. And I never really thought about it, because most of the time I had really great defensive teams behind me. But I remember when I left and Mike Flanagan was still pitching. In fact, before he was traded to the Blue Jays, I think the Orioles hit 209 home runs in 1987, I believe. And they gave up 215. And then talking to Mike and Boddicker, they said, when you don't have a good defense, you're trying to strike people out. Pitch count gets up. Don't take advantage of that defense. That's certainly not the case here.
Off-speed pitch gets DeLucci, and a strikeout ends the inning. So Bergeson has his first 3-up, 3-down inning, helped out by Adam Jones, who went high on the wall to take. For boys and girls ages 7 to 16, each Orioles baseball summer camp features a 4-day instructional program with player appearances by current and former Orioles, plus professional instructors, autograph and photo opportunities, lunch every day, giveaways, and complimentary O's tickets. Get online, Orioles.com, click on Fan Forum to register and get all the details. Youngsters here at the game with their family on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Beautiful summer day on July the 12th. And the Orioles now with a 2-0 lead, looking for those add-on runs. Ty Wigginton looks at a high curveball and 1-0. Reimold on deck, then Mora. Another curveball. This one hits the corner.
Yeah, maybe Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach for Toronto, said, you know what, let's not get too predictable. Let's use all your pitches. Let's go back to the way you pitch against the Rays, where you'll use that curveball. And he's had a good one, throwing some change-ups.
Wigginton pops it up, shallow right. Rios comes in, calls off Hill. And he battles the breeze up there, and he has it for the out. One away in the Oriole fourth. And again, the flags in the ballpark blowing in every possible direction.
Yeah, it looked like, last night the ball didn't carry until Melvin Mora hit the 12th inning fly ball to right that ended up going into seats to win the ball game for the Orioles. You see the wind definitely today blowing that way, at least flag-wise.
Foul ball down the line. Reimold hit it sharply.
Now you would think that means the wind is blowing out to right, but a lot of times you'll see the flags when the teams are hitting batting practice and right at, or sometimes we feel it here, where the wind is actually blowing into the booth. And you're very happy because Boog's barbecue smoke comes right in, and
love it. Now, if I'm Reimold right now, I request time because there's a plastic bag blowing around out there, and it's got to be in his vision. Right? It's going
either that or hit it to shortstop.
Yeah, well,
one of the two.
Now it'll bother Scudero more than Reimold. It's got to be a distraction. It's the same color as the baseball.
Now he'll go over. Marco is also a groundskeeper. There you go. It's a big bag.
Probably brought their lunch. Marco.
21-10 out there in right center.
1-2 is bounce foul. Marco helping out Nicole Sherry and her crew. I'll take care of this one. Reimold looking to get that stroke back.
Well, he's not getting a lot of low fastballs, and there's a breaking ball right there, and he's just going to roll over, and everybody's dodging and ducking.
There's a ground ball. There's a base hit for Reimold. He is on with a 1-out single. So Nolan gets the hit to snap an 0 for 10. And you certainly want him going to the break feeling better about his swing.
Well, what I've seen, and when you talk to Terry Crowley, the hitting instructor, it's when you get a big, strong guy, he has some success, and he certainly did. He was American League Rookie Player of the Month. And all of a sudden they make adjustments. What you start to do is you think you're going to get those pitches all year long. And there's the Aaron Hill, Mr. All-Star for the Blue Jays, trying to dive for it. And they change. You don't get as many fastballs. They try to stay out of that zone. So you keep working on your swing. You get it short. And then you make adjustments. I mean, Melvin has to do it. Anytime you're 37, you got to make some adjustments. For us, I mean, to me, the perfect stroke for Melvin, even though he's hit as much as 28 home runs, is the stroke you hit the home run on. You know, you key right center, left center, and if you just get enough hits out there, they'll try to come in, and then maybe hitters count, you'll turn on some balls. But it is very difficult to hit, and all you have to do is start looking at the numbers. You know, the league average with 2 strikes is 185. So that's why they tell pitchers to try to get ahead.
Reimold has good speed, measures his lead.
And that's a big lead.
Melvin has a good hitter's count here, 2-0. And he looks at a strike at the outside corner.
Body
I don't think he thought so.
No, well, I mean, I don't think that ball was even close to being a strike, but Dale Scott is the only guy that counts. Take a look right here. That's close enough. Well presented by Raul Chavez.
And it definitely looked like it had the knee at the front end of the strike zone, which is all you need. It's not where the guy catches it.
Okay, and that's pitching backwards. He's looking fastball. He throws him a slider. And that's what he did against the Rays.
2-2 on Melvin.
And now, just imagine, you thought you were getting a fastball, you got a breaking ball. Now you got 2 strikes. The average, they're going down towards that 185. You've got to protect in and out, up and down, breaking ball, fastball, changeup.
See it and hit it.
Yeah. And it looks like they're going to try to come in.
Reimold runs, swing and a miss, and no throw to second base. As Chavez lost the handle of it, so instead of rushing a throw, he held on to it. So Reimold steals the base, his second. Morris down on strikes for the second out.
And Zepchinski, and there's the jump that Nolan Reimold gets, and he makes a great pitch underneath the bat. So again, right where Chavez calls it. It's that traditional left-handed pitcher slider to a right-handed batter.
Chavez should have thrown to second base. He might have gotten an interference call there, the way Melvin's momentum took him in front of the plate. But because he held on, no call. Here's Zahn, chance for an RBI. Another curve for a strike. All of a sudden he's found that slot.
Well, again, that's what you do. You give up 2 runs, you go in. Of course, Brad Arnsberg came out and talked to him during the inning, and then he got the double play ball. But you go in and you have a little conversation. I mean, the problem for Tampa Bay was that they never saw this kid. Now the Orioles got to look at some film.
Broken back ground ball to short, fielded there by Scudero, and he hurries the throw to get Zahn inning end. So base hit and a man left. We played 4 at Oriole Park on a beautiful summer day in a 2-0 Oriole lead. On the Inner Harbor, Brian's Baseball Bash. All the proceeds benefiting the University of Maryland Hospital for Children. Brian and his teammates will be there, and fantastic auction items, including Spend the Day with Me. And Brittany and Martha are here today. They paid top dollar to hang out with me during a Masson telecast.
Okay,
I get nothing?
Yeah, enough about you. Let's talk about Brian. Come on.
I'm just encouraging bidding.
I understand.
Now, I will tell you that the truth of the matter is that Brittany requested a day where I was working with you. So I feel like you were part of it, even though you weren't
Brittany
there.
appears to be not only a beautiful young woman, but very smart.
Right.
Yes, so there we go.
And she bid on me and picked the day you'd be there. Well, we hope you can come out and join us. That is a fun event, and it benefits the kids, and that's what's important.
I try to go when I'm in town. I think I'm doing the games that weekend. So
oh, good. You'll be there.
Up. Yeah.
Want to come on stage with me? And
no.
You know, we'll do like an Abbott and Costello.
You don't need me to do that.
I can't play both roles. 0-2 on Chavez.
Tiger Woods interviewed himself.
Yeah, that's right. Come on. Bouncer right back to Bergeson. Field your position, Bergeson. He does it. One down. Well, anyway, but thanks for Brittany and Martha for coming today.
Yeah, you become a defensive player. I want you to get defensive, but right here, the minute you throw the ball, and seems pretty routine, but if you fall off or you're not able to catch it, I mean, there'd be some great pitchers. I mean, Bob Gibson comes to mind. He would end up way over and probably wouldn't have caught that ball. But again, that's just a bonus when you can take the routine ground ball and turn it into an out, other than having it be a base hit.
Scudero takes ball one.
Marco Scudero, to me, is a very good inside of the plate hitter. And we saw that when he was out in Oakland. Walk off win one night, and maybe not that far inside. That ball got away. But and then again, when you're getting on base as much as he is, you're working the count pretty well. You know what you want to hit. And right here, a hitter's count already with the double down the left field line. And they're looking for a way to get back into this game. Not on that pitch, though. See, everybody thinks that you really have to get defensive when you get behind a hitter. Really what it comes down to is you have to execute quality pitches. And the more often you can do it, and Brad Bergeson does that on a regular basis, the more you're going to be successful. And the good hitters, if you can execute the good pitch, aren't going to be swinging at him when you're behind. They figure, I'll get a better pitch down the road. And he did, but he fouled it off.
2-2 on Scudero, batting with one out and none on.
And you can look at the number at the top of your screen. Anytime you get the strikes to 227, it's not just him, it's just most major league hitters.
Fouls off the breaking ball.
All right, here, a little pause. Doesn't look to home plate till right then.
Bergeson has struck out 2. He has walked 2. He has allowed only 3 hits as Scudero fouls off another one. Bergeson coming in 93 hits in 97 2/3 innings. So just a shade under a base hit per inning.
And then what, he had 23 walks in 15 starts. Pretty low number. A very low number.
2-2 is hit to right field for a base hit off the end of the bat. How about that plate coverage for Marco Scudero, and he's on with a 1-out single. Second hit for Scudero in the game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by Authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Nice view from center field from the picnic area right above the bullpens. And here is Aaron Hill now representing the tying run at the plate. Ground ball towards third. Moore to his left has it. Goes to second. Out there. Roberts back to first. And out at first base. Orioles turn it 5-4-3 to end the inning. Bottom of the 5th coming up, and the Birds with a 2-0 lead.
view you guys get from up there. Because the last 2 nights I saw things you can't hide. And that's not the promise and the commitment that I've tried to make to the fans here and the people here. And that's going to get better.
So Dave Tremblay trying to get back to the basics after the All-Star break. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. Well, Dave was on the level we're on for the past 2 nights, sitting with Andy McPhail, so the game was right in front of him. And now back on the bench. Dave Tremblay talking with Nolan Reimold as he came off the field. And here is Cesar Esteuras, and there's a strike. Cesar bounced into a force play in the third, but has hustled down to first, and the slide by Zahn at second kept the inning alive, and the Orioles rallied for a couple of runs. Cesar, one of 3 switch hitters in the lineup today. Bounce to third. Rowland gets a tough hop. 1 down as Esteuras is retired by Scott Rowland.
And it's a tough hop because he's protecting against the bunt, and he's pretty shallow. Again, that ball just kind of goes with it. 7-time Gold Glover. Boy, you better have some soft hands at third. The good news is, and you can see it, I know Brooks Robinson on his way to 16 straight Gold Gloves used to knock balls down and then pounce on them. But the important thing, and I remember Brooks doing it better than anybody, is that momentum was always going towards first base. So you keep the ball in front of you. And the minute you back up or you arch your back, balls go off right or left. It's very difficult to pick up a ball off your chest and whatever if you're not able to keep it in front of you and moving towards the base and still throw somebody out.
Left field deep down the line, hooking and foul. So Brian down in the count 0-2. He hit that one loud and far, but foul. Brian doubled and scored in the third, driving in a run. Zepchinski has struck out 3. He has walked 2. Fastball sails 1-2.
He's done a nice job. I mean, Brian Butterfield, who was the interim manager when Cito Gaston was away, tremendous respect for the Orioles offense. He said they don't have a lot of holes in that lineup. So this kid, again, is pitching not like this is just an ordinary lineup that you can just throw it up there and get people out. And the great thing about the Orioles, I think they can be a lot better. Some of the guys that haven't hit home runs will probably hit some home runs, not trying to do it, but there are a lot of things. And I was talking to Dave today. He said, you know, a lot of times players will go home at the All-Star break and think, okay, how can I have a better second half than I had in the first half? And hopefully that will be the case with this club. Good breaking ball right there.
Roberts down on strikes, 2 away.
Very deceptive breaking ball, because the only reason I say this is he's getting a lot of strikeouts, but the hitters are showing, not only me but everybody at home, that it's tough to get to that pitch. And it starts as a strike and ends up as a ball. Very rarely has he hung any in the middle of the plate, other than the one to Markakis.
Well, here's Adam Jones batting with 2 down and the bases empty. He did walk his last at bat. Breaking ball is low. Talked to Adam the other day in Seattle about what he thinks it will be like when he walks into the clubhouse as an All-Star, and he said, you know, it's going to be really strange, but I'm going to enjoy it, because at least for one day I will be teammates with the best in the league. And you're talking about Derek Jeter and guys like that are All-Stars every year, and now he's their equal.
Oh yeah,
They'll always have that tag now, All-Star Adam Jones, attached to it.
And now, because you have the home run derby and all the hoopla that goes along with the All-Star game, it's always, and you hope that he didn't hurt himself there, but it used to be, obviously the game was very important, and it still is, because it determines who's going to have the whole home field advantage. But just think how, if we take another look right here, you can see the protection. I mean, that gets above it, so it's on the shin.
Adam also said he was very happy that his first All-Star game will be in the National League, so he'll have on the road jersey. And
with Baltimore on the front.
On the front. He's very proud about that he'll be the one representing the franchise and the city. And all of the fans that follow this team very passionately. And he's down on strike. Chavez tags him. Inning over. Second 3 up, 3 down inning for Zepchinski. We'll enter the 6th. Good game. O's with a 2-0 lead.
Well, Adam Jones is going to freeze it right there. Takes a home run away. Alex Rios hitting, at least bidding for his 11th home run of the season. So in a 2-0 ball game, very, very important play for the Orioles.
Adam Jones having a terrific year defensively. And he continues to get better and better. Here's Adam Lynn. Bergeson deals low, 1-0. It's good to see the Blue Jays have the maple leaf back on their uniforms. For some reason, for a couple of years, it disappeared. There's a bouncer to first. Wigginton backs up to play the tough hop and gets it to Bergeson, 1 away.
Yeah, he was retreating into right field. A lot of top spin on that ball, and we had enough time because you're pretty close to the base. And one thing about Brad Bergeson, you don't have to tell people. Everybody's yelling, get over there. Any ball to your left, the right side of the infield, where you work on that so much in spring training, you would think that it becomes second nature, but it isn't. Not for some guys.
Here's Scott Rowland, 0 for 2. He did reach on an error. And it's low, 1-0. Now, when you would hit the All-Star break, did you prefer to stay in Baltimore since you'd get more rest by not traveling, or did you try to go do something?
No, I always stayed pretty much here. And I think one year, actually, I pitched in the All-Star game in New York. Not well, and went to Ocean City. One of the few times I've been down to Ocean City or whatever. And I think one year Andy Etchenberry and we went up to West Virginia to one of the summer camps, and why I remember it so clearly because we went down one of the little currents in a canoe, and Andy got turned around backwards, and his daughters wanted to ride with me. They didn't trust Andy, but we played softball. Just stuff to do with your family and everybody. A lot of the Royals will go to Chicago on Thursday around noon, so a lot of people bringing their bags in because I guess they'll probably
meet them there.
Yeah, meet them there. And
Wells, a high fly ball to left field. Reimold waiting for it to come down. It is way up there, and the breeze takes it a bit towards left center, and a 3-up, 3-down inning for Brad Bergeson. Middle of the 6th. Bergeson with a 2-0 lead.
last night. Brandon Snyder hit his first home run as a Norfolk Tide. Also, Jake Arrieta got the start today. He pitched 5 2/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, and struck out 5. Right now, that game is still going on. It's 3-0 Durham in the 6th. And the Futures game is being played in St. Louis. Brian Mattis and Chris Tillman are representing the Orioles organization. Tillman did pitch the first inning. He gave up 2 earned runs, but right now the game is in a rain delay. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much as we go here to the bottom of the 6th inning. What an honor for those two guys to pitch in that game. Last year, Arrieta pitched in it. So the Orioles pitching prospects not only getting noticed by the Orioles, getting noticed by Major League Baseball. Sharply at the first, tough hop for Overbay, but back of the bag he has it. Markakis retired, 1 away.
Yeah, I had another scout, and I'm just looking it up here. Xavier Avery.
Yep. Is that Delmarva?
Oh, yeah. They
drafted last year.
Football player, apparently gifted football player.
Believe he had a football scholarship to Georgia as a running back.
Yeah, he comes from Fulton, Georgia. Yeah. Born in Georgia and lives in Tampa, but rave reviews. I mean, talking about speed, short stroke, and still learning how to play the game because not a lot of at bats. Last year was down at the Gulf Coast where he hit 280.
Well, both he and L.J. Hose, very highly regarded high school picks from last year. And what is interesting about those two, and you just mentioned it, last year they were started very slowly in the Gulf Coast League, but they made the jump all the way to Delmarva this year. And that tells you something, that they skipped the short season clubs and went right to the full season in the South Atlantic League. They both have speed, too.
Oh, no, tons of speed. They were just saying that Xavier Avery can just fly. I think about that. I think about Al Bumphrey when he came.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of time in the minor leagues. Rookie of the year of '73.
1-2 deep to left field. Back it goes. Adam Lind, and there it goes. Home run for Salazar. He got a hanger and he crushed it.
Well, the one thing about Oscar Salazar, he's been around the block a few times. So when he's sitting on the bench and he's watching breaking ball, and then you heave one up there, one of the few breaking balls that Zepchinski is left up in the strike zone, and it's a 2-strike one, and he just goes out and kind of flicks it into the stands here at Camden Yards to make it 3-0.
Second home run for Oscar Salazar. Ty Wigginton goes the opposite way, slicing towards the line. Long run for Rios. That's a foul ball.
You know, and if you go into the second half, and I know they have some roster problems with PA and Salazar, and they will bring back David Hernandez, but when you're struggling against left-handed starters and your slugging percentage goes down, it's when you have somebody like Oscar, it's a good time to rest people. I mean, look at this. If you look at Aubrey Huff, this is the first year that I can remember that he's played every day in the field. So I thought you want to bench him if you have a chance to DH him sometimes, and put Salazar in there. You can give him a day off. So there's a lot of opportunities as the season progresses if he stays on this club. And I'll tell you what, somebody's going to snatch him up if they try to get him back to the minor leagues, because he's just proved that he can hit and hit and hit. But that's just a smart hitter. You got a great pitch to hit, but you still have to go out and hit it, and he didn't miss it.
Well, he could play first and third. He could DH. He could even play at shortstop. It's not his best position, but he could play there. He'll even go in the outfield for him. So Wigginton down in the count. They're 2-2 now.
Well, there's that tack on, at least one of those tack on runs you talked about.
Check swing. And no swing, says Jerry Niels.
So Elise Bergeson's going to have a 3-run lead when he goes out to pitch the 7th inning.
Well, I like how you described it with the theory you took to the mound. For every one you got, they had to get 2. So now he has to give up 4.
Well, we used to always think that, and
sharply at foul.
And I think I told the story the other night, but when Sandy Alomar Sr. came in with the Mets, his son now the bullpen junior, Robbie Alomar played here, and what used to drive Davey Johnson crazy when he managed the Orioles in '96 and '97 is that Brady Anderson would get on and Robbie would bunt. But Robbie's theory was, because he had come up for that situation. We get one, they have to get two to take the lead. Now Davey, of course, was saying, hey, you can hit the ball in the hole, we can have a big inning. That's a little bit of Earl Weaver, but good ball clubs. And if you look at this club, Toronto, that they're trying to beat, Toronto they get a lot of quality starts, but they have 13 one-run games that they have played. They've lost 12 of the last 13 of those one-run games. So the little things. Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, getting on the phone, on the horn, so to speak, to call the bullpen.
There's Nolan Reimold. Curveball for a strike. Well, this Orioles team does not play a lot of small ball. They're a team that seems to prefer just sitting back and playing for the big inning because of the way their lineup is set up. Really, the only hitter who is asked to sacrifice with any kind of frequency is the number 9 batter, whether it's Asturias or Andino.
But what the Orioles do is spray the ball around the field. If you look at Markakis, Mora when he's hitting well, and Brian Roberts because he's a switch hitter. So they don't give up outs, and I'm not an advocate of that until late in the game anyway. The one thing, I mean, Earl and I certainly had our disagreements. A lot of it was
really
kind of, well, no, I mean, he let me pitch, and I got to the Hall of Fame. He got to the Hall of Fame. So it's great when somebody will pencil your name in the lineup. But the one thing he said, 27 outs, don't use them judiciously.
Deep short, Scudero has it, goes to second out there, back to first, not in time. Ball gets away from Overbay, but he'll run it down. So Reimold is on in the fielder's choice, and now 2 down.
Right here, it's not routine because it's very quickly, and he's easily beaten out by Reimold.
Wigginton gets high fives for the slide into second base and a collision as well.
Yeah, but you wonder what he did to his right hand because he came off the field. So take a look. Let's see. He's going in there trying to break up the double play, and
like the right thumb hit the corner of the base.
Bag. And he was kind of trying to wiggle it a little bit as he went down into the tunnel.
Here's Melvin Mora. Bouncer, that is a foul ball. Foul ball, says Dale Scott.
Well, that's the call you talked about. Normally there'd be an umpire there, but because of the injury to Ron Culpa. Now let's Exmo this. Slow it down. Man, that ball well foul.
Good job by Dale Scott. Melvin is hitless today. He has struck out twice. For a lefty, that's not a very good move. You could see it coming.
No, but there was a lot of guys that, Mike Flanagan came up. He did not have a good move. Kansas City, as well as start there. Every time the leg would come up, they'd run. And then he went on to have one of the best moves in baseball because he worked at it.
Down and away.
And you don't even need a move if you're going to quick pitch like that. Slide step. It's where you slide that front foot. So no glade kick hardly at all. And you get to the ball to the catcher in about a second. And Chavez can throw. Flat out throw. We saw that a couple of years ago when he was with the Orioles.
He almost doesn't step to first base.
Well, that's my point when he did it the first time.
His momentum goes that way, his body momentum, but his leg.
Well, if you drew a line, he's going probably for the middle of the Oriole dugout. I mean, if we took a line, he's stepping maybe that way, and first base is obviously, you can see that visual medium. Explain that. Oh,
high fly ball, center field. Vernon Wells back, has a play, and just in front of the warning track, he has it for the out. So Morris skies out, but the Orioles add a run. Oscar Salazar gets in the one. His second home run on the year for a 3-0 Orioles lead. 2110 Utah Street, the first day for the new fan club. We want to send our best and our thanks to First Fidelity Mortgage for sponsoring this new fan club. And Adam Jones and Nick Markakis both contributing in this game, as Adam defensively and Nick Markakis with an RBI single. And it is so popular, they have added 3 more dates. So if you want to get in on the fun, get your tickets in advance. Out there in the Utah Street bleachers. So as you're watching the game, you can see the number 21 and 10. Here's Bergeson pitching in the 7th inning. Overbay fouls it off, 1-1.
Yeah, Brad's got some pretty good movement today, because a lot of times you'll see the glove from Zahn. He won't always hit it, but the ball's running. There, the pitch count, 73 going into 7th, so very efficient. 3rd inning, able to work out of a bases loaded jam.
Slice foul.
When he first came up, it looked like Brad Bergeson had trouble with left-handers. His number's actually better against lefties now than righties. But he'd just get some balls, wouldn't finish his pitches, and then Rick Kranitz saying, hey, you got to stay behind that sinker. In other words, keep that forearm and that wrist behind it, a little bit higher wrist angle, and things have been much crisper.
I've got a piece of Zahn.
Yeah, you don't want to be behind the plate today.
We've lost an umpire. Ron Kulpa knocked out of the game, and now Zahn is hit by 1.
Yeah, he's going to come back out, and I don't know if this is strategy or pain, or maybe both. You know, look, breaking ball, foul ball.
Oh, right on his elbow. Oh boy.
Well, Toronto knows all about Greg Zahn because he was with him. And he played last year and still trying to, right on the tip of that elbow.
And if it hit the funny bone, it's not funny.
No, not at all.
Well, Chavez certainly understands what his counterpart's going through. Oh, close pitch. So Chavez, a one-time Oriole, catching for the Blue Jays. Zahn, a one-time Blue Jay, catching for the Orioles.
Even though he started with the Orioles.
Way back
in the day.
Big league debut in 1995 for Greg Zahn. Center field and deep. Jones a long way back, still going back. It is off the wall and in play. Firing back in is Jones, and out at second base with a double to lead off the 7th inning is Overbay.
Yeah, before the inning, a lot of the bullpen for the Orioles, even though the pitch count's low, just getting up and stretching, because normally, and the Orioles hope that this will not be a normal day because Bergeson has pitched so well and has been able to do it late in the game. An example, the Red Sox game, 1 run in 8 innings. So again, everybody getting loose just in case you have to get up.
5th hit for Toronto. Here's Rios. Breaking ball for a strike.
Not a particularly good one, but he gets fooled on it. Slider that just kind of backed up and hit the inside part of the plate. Well, let's see how they play. You're 3 runs down, but you still have 9 outs to work with if you're the Jays. Are they going to try to advance the runner? They didn't do a very good job of it last night. Ended up again losing by 1 run. So if you've been in a lot of 1-run ball games, sometimes you just never know how many you're going to score. So we'll see if Rios is hitting the ball the other way or trying to drive it somewhere. Just missed a home run that second time up back in the 4th inning.
1-1 is down and away. So Overbay at second.
Now is the count 1-2 or 2-1?
I believe it is 2-1.
Yeah, I think that's reversed. They have it on the board at 1-2. Let's see if he goes back to the dugout.
Yep, there he goes.
Yeah. So one of those pitches was called a strike. Terrific breaking ball, and that's how you pitch, Alex Rios. Try to keep the ball down and try to stay away from his power. Big, long arm, rangy guy, and right there it gets him a wave at a slider. Pitching is so much about execution. Can you make the right pitch at the right time? And Bergeson certainly did it then.
That was a great replay with the Exmo there. You could see where Zahn's target was, and the ball hit the glove. Left field, Reimold back on it. The ball carries, and it's over his head. And it bounces against the wall. Heading to second with a double is DeLucci. So Toronto gets on the board as Overbay comes in. 3-1 game.
Well, once again, coming in with 196 doubles. They are closing in on 200. And again, probably too much of the plate. Nice approach by Dave DeLucci, who started his career with the Orioles. And that ball over the head of Raimo. And the bullpen will get active for the Orioles. So the Jays trying to make some noise here in the 7th.
David DeLucci, drafted by the Orioles in '95, and he played sparingly with the big club. He played about 17 games in 1997, but he showed so much promise the Orioles lost him in the expansion draft. Following that '97 season, Arizona and Tampa Bay joined Major League Baseball as Danny Baez gets up, and DeLucci was claimed by Arizona. 1-0 on Raul Chavez, the number 9 batter.
Well, not a lot of changeups today, so I can't feel comfortable throwing them, but he's been so good with just sinkers and sliders all afternoon. 4-seam and 2-seam fastballs.
There's a strike in the knees.
A lot of late movement. That ball running.
And Toronto now has out hit the Orioles 6-5. So Tremblay and Rick Kranitz looking on. Slider just missed. Four doubles in this game by Toronto.
Oh, that's right. I miscounted. So it's actually they're at 200. Right on the nose. And that came in 9 better than the Red Sox, leading the American League.
Chavez is 0 for 2. He has struck out and bounced back to the mound. Here's a strike. 2-2.
And Raw looking down at the inside corner. Terrific pitch.
Ferguson has pitched at least 6 innings in 11 of his 15 starts. Just missed, ball 3. And he has pitched at least 7 full innings in 4 of those starts. And he has learned about pitch efficiency to be effective and stay in the game. 3-2 on the number 9 batter, Chavez. DeLucci a good lead at second base with 1 down. Hard hit ball towards Moore. Again it deflects off Melvin Moore. This one in the shallow left field. What is going on out there in front of Melvin Moore? These smashes are bouncing up on him, not staying down to his glove.
Well, that ball hit so hard. I mean, that ball blistered down in Melvin. Slider that stays in the middle of the plate. And that is the problem. 3-2. So again, hard. And it stays up. He just doesn't get to it. I don't know if he got a bad hop. It's just caromed up and he just couldn't get the glove to it. And again, the ball just hit extremely hard.
That's a base hit, by the way, for Chavez. That ball was hit so far. Rick Kranitz will come out for a chat with Ferguson. DeLucci moves to third, and Chavez now at first. So the tying runs are on with only 1 down in the 7th inning.
Well, difficult situation. You cruise into the 7th with a 3-0 lead, but fastball up to Overbay, double. Looked like it could be a home run. Fastball up to DeLucci, double, and then a high slider to Chavez. So all hits on balls that Brad Ferguson, areas he wants to stay out of, and that's up in the strike zone.
So Ferguson and Zahn plotting their strategy now as Kranitz heads back to the bench. Infield will be a double play depth. Marco Scutaro coming up. Big smile on his face walking up there. He's feeling pretty good. 88 pitches now for Brad Ferguson. Scutaro has 2 hits today. Fastball for a strike in the outside corner.
Yeah, he hit a double down the left field line and then hit and we always talk about pitches being information pitches. He had a ball right on the outside corner, hit a soft single. So look at the series that he's had. Orioles are looking for double play ball, and the Jays are certainly looking for a base hit, something fly ball. And there's a good pitch. So again, you're wondering, if you're Brad Bergeson, where can I go to get the out? I came in, elevated the ball, he doubled down the line, I threw him down and away, and this tells you a little bit about the year that Scudero has had. Runners at first and third for the Jays. Where do I go right now to get an out? And Scudero saying, how do I get the ball in the air, stay out of the double play, maybe even drive someone somewhere.
Well, there it is to center field. That'll be deep enough to get to Lucci, and Adam Jones has to backtrack. Has it for the out. Chavez
forgot how many outs there were.
And fires back in, but Chavez moves up 90 feet.
Well, Adam forgot how many outs there were. He was going to throw the ball in the stands.
So the sac fly cuts the Orioles lead to a run.
Which is a good thing that he didn't. But the way he caught that ball, it appeared to me that he didn't know that was just a second out.
John McDonald will pinch run for Chavez now that the tying run is in scoring position. Good base running there by Chavez. So a one-run game. And that'll do it for Bergeson. Here comes Dave Tremblay. Danny Baez will come on. Try to get the final out here in the 7th and prevent Toronto from tying this game. So Brad Bergeson goes 6 2/3. He can win this game. He cannot lose. Baez coming on with 2 out and a man on in the 7th.
Very, very good. Kept the ball in the ballpark. Now 8 out of the last 9 starts. Quality. In other words, 3 runs in 6 innings or more. So he will leave with a chance to win as Danny Baez comes on in relief.
AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And Aaron Hill, one of the best hitters in the league this year, fouls it back.
Well, second in hits to Ichiro, and of course the history, and this has a lot to do with Ferguson getting a little bit tired or ineffective, whatever the case may be, but 1 for 9 lifetime, so it's at least a comfortable matchup. And of course Danny Baez, when he's pitching well, the ball will be down, sinker or splitter. Also he's got his hard slider.
Sharply hit towards the hole. Melvin Moore, diving stop, gets up and throws, and out at first base. Melvin Moore ends the inning and saves a run. So Aaron Hill retired. Blue Jays settle for 2. They get back in the game. 7th inning stretch, and the Orioles holding on to a 1-run lead.
and come back with a fresh mind and hopefully a fresh body.
So Greg Zahn, his thoughts on the All-Star break, which will hit following this game today. Welcome back in, Jim Hunter and Jim Palmer. And what the Orioles are looking for is to hold on here and get 2 out of 3 and go into the break on a 2-game winning streak.
Well, we talked about in the opening how good the Oriole bullpen has been, and they're going to have to do that again. And we saw him last night. Jimmy Johnson could not hold that 3-2 lead in the 8th inning. So again, we're going to see that again. The Orioles, until this game ends, certainly want to start adding some runs. But again, Bergeson pitched very well. He did what Rich Hill did, which is give the Orioles a chance to win, and that's pretty much what the game is for a starting pitcher.
You know, Jim, we knew that this season was going to be about building a pitching staff, and that means the entire staff, and there are going to be ups and downs and peaks and valleys. But the last week has been very encouraging because the starters and the bullpen in unison have pitched pretty well together.
Well, they really have, and that's what you want. You want your starter to go long enough so he obviously you can match up, and we've seen the Orioles be able to do that. But I know Brad Bergeson's a guy that even though he's been pitching very well, he's going to go back and look at this game, and he said, you know, maybe I could have mixed in a few more change-ups. When we start the second half, he's going to have to do that because when you pitch as well as he has, people are going to notice, and all of a sudden they're going to make the adjustments. And it looks to me that he certainly has 3 pitches he can throw for strikes. We'll probably see a change-up added here or there over the second half of the year.
And what has been encouraging about Bergeson, he has proven to be very coachable. And of all the pitchers, he seems to adjust to the adversity that he has in a game and really can build from that.
Well, yeah, and all that adversity came really early on. Mm-hmm. You know, his last game he got 1 hit by Jared Washburn, so you say, well, you know what, I might have changed a few things. I got a ball up to Chris Woodward late in the ball game for a double down the line, but all in all, I pitched well enough to win, and he's certainly done that again this afternoon.
And he could pick up his 6th win if the Orioles hold on here. There's Rod Barajas. He takes over behind the plate after the Toronto Blue Jays pinch ran for the catcher Chavez, and here is Sean Camp, right-hander out of the bullpen, who takes over for Zepchinski. And here is Greg Zahn, who talked about the All-Star break. He'll lead off. Zahn will flip over and bat from the left side as Turris will follow, and then Brian Roberts. 3 consecutive switch hitters here in the 7th. And Zahn looks it over low. So Sean Camp takes over for Zepchinski, who went 6 innings and did his job. He kept them in the game.
Yeah, Camp, we saw him on Friday night. There he is, sinker ball changeup guy, keeps the ball down.
And Scudero gets it to first and 1 down.
Yeah, pretty sure deal. Again, only a couple of errors all year long. Good defensive club. I think that's probably the frustrating thing for Cito Gaston. Is that, again, the 13 one-run ball games, they've lost 12 of them, even though they do a lot of things right, other than maybe they'd like to score a few more runs by hitting better with runners in scoring position, and we've seen that in this series and even this afternoon. Unable to get, at least so far, the big hit.
Here is Cesar Estouris batting with 1 out and nobody on. There's a tapper hit toward short. Tough play. Scudero charges, throws on the run. Not in time, and it's into the stands. And Cesar Estouris will be awarded second base. So that'll be a single and an error, and the Orioles looking for an add-on run have Estouris at second base. We invite you to join the Orioles Wives, WJZ TV, and the Orioles Advocates for the 23rd annual Orioles Reach Food Drive. That is July 31st through August 2nd here at Oriole Park. Bring any non-perishable food item or a few extra dollars with you to the games. They're all against the Red Sox and help out the Maryland Food Bank. Representatives will be at each gate to collect your donations, which will go to help area soup kitchens, food pantries, and emergency shelters throughout the state of Maryland. For more information, 888-848-BURGER, OriolesReach.com. So the Orioles have a chance.
And there's error number 3 for Marco Scudero.
And there's a base hit to left field for Roberts. Past the dive of Rowland. And the Orioles get a run right back, taking advantage of the error. Roberts comes through, and a 4-2 lead for the Birds.
Well, we've talked it all afternoon. I mean, the one thing the Orioles do, even Brian Roberts slumping a little bit, 296 with runners in scoring position, and that number's gone up because he's got 2 hits today. So right here, just you throw it away, sinker baller. It's the second time you've seen him in this series, so you know a little bit about him. He makes a pretty good pitch, but even a better approach at home plate garners the Orioles another run.
So Sean Camp allows a run at the moment in his unearned. We'll see if it stays that way. And here is Adam Jones. Go to first and Roberts back. So Zepsinski went 6 innings and he allowed 3 runs. And the Orioles pick up 1 against Camp here in the 4th. Pitch out. Roberts wasn't going.
Well, you have a control guy, so if you're Cito Gaston, no problem. You had a young pitcher, Camp 33, you had a young guy out there going, I can't really afford to be throwing ball 1, but it's a good way to control the running game. Pitch out as long as you don't give it away.
Good eye by Adam Jones. He takes low.
And again, Adam hitting .344 coming into this game with runners in scoring position. Not that this is the case now. So just a solid numbers from Huff over 300, Markakis over 300, Scott over 300.
Fouled again down the line.
See, and that's a pitch that Adam Jones has to take because it's a ball. If you take it, you're hitting 3-0. You may not be swinging 3-0, but you work the count in your favor. But as Terry Crowley, the hitting instructor for the Orioles, says, he's still a baby. Pro says it's got to be at least 1,500 at bats before a guy really has a good sense of kind of what he needs to do. I mean, Adams made tremendous strides. More control, all the multi-hit games, used the whole field, but he can get a lot better.
2-1 on Jones. Roberts doesn't go. Swing and a miss. Big healthy cut. And Johnson, who allowed a run last night, back up again today.
So you would think they may run here. No, and he does, but
I think it was gonna. Camp held the ball.
Yeah. Well, that is. I mean, that's the one thing you try to do. Is you can't let a good base runner, even a bad one, get that running lead. So you hold the ball and you hope that he'll give himself away. If he had happened to throw over, I don't know if over. Sometimes your first baseman would say, you know, throw over, and you just turn and fire. They might have caught Bryant.
2-2 on Jones. 1 down. Roberts at first, doesn't go, and another foul.
Well, he's a sinker, slider changeup guy. So his whole thing when we talk about Sean Camp is to be down in the strike zone. I mean, he's been pitching a long time. I told you he was 33. First got to the big leagues with Kansas City. And in the minor leagues, 392 games, 13 starts. So he's almost always been a bullpen guy. First started with San Diego. He was a 16th round draft choice back in '97.
Quick throw to first, and Roberts back. Bryant stole his 18th base of the year in the 3rd inning.
So the Orioles with 42 steals this season. Caught 26 times.
He came into the game last in the league in stolen bases. 2-2 on Jones. Towards right field. Rios is there, and he has it for the 2nd out. Bryant back to first. 21,621 on hand on this Sunday afternoon.
Well, beautiful venue. And we get to travel. I mean, there are some beautiful ballparks around the country. They've done a nice job. You were talking about it when we were out in Anaheim, of renovating that ballpark. Seattle. We saw the roof actually closed during the game the other night. Afternoon, I guess it was. Seemed like night when they closed the roof.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, did they score that as a day game or a night game?
I think they classify that as a roof closed game.
Yeah.
And they actually do keep those records. What the record is with it open and closed. Although I'm not sure that the one in Seattle has as much impact as the one in Toronto, because in Toronto it's sealed. 1-0 Markakis, another throw to first, chases Roberts. Nick has 1 hit today, an RBI, so he'll hit the break on a 3-game hitting streak. Last night he topped 100 hits on the year. He now has 102.
Well, you like the RBIs. Home runs are down. I think they're pitching them a little different. Walks are down. 99 walks, 31 coming into the game. But it's still the same old type of hitter where he just hits it everywhere. And if you look at the hit chart, all over the field. Almost as many to each field.
Roller towards first, swinging bunt, and that is a fair ball. And Markakis is tagged out. Nice play by Overbay to quickly get to that ball and tag Markakis. Orioles get a run. We'll head to the 8th in a 2-run game.
Doubled by Brian Roberts, and then Markakis would single in the second run, 2-0 Orioles. And then Oscar Salazar cleaning up for the Orioles at the number 4 spot. Home run, 7th inning. Here come the Jays as they hit a couple of doubles and a single, and then a sacrifice fly to get Bergeson out of the game. Baez comes on and restores order. So Brad Bergeson a chance to win. Another quality start. Brian Roberts, good way to go into the break. Single double, couple of RBIs, and then Mr. Wonderful with the bat, Oscar Salazar. He can flat out hit home run and a single and an RBI. So Jim Johnson will come on. The Orioles hope that they get the Jim Johnson of about a month ago. A little bit of a struggle lately. It just seems like the command gone. Came in last night, gave up 1 run to tie it. Threw the ball. It's not about velocity. It's pretty much just about he can't really command his pitches. So hopefully that will not be the case. And good guy to have in when he's on his game, because you're right into the heart of the Toronto lineup.
Lind, Rowland, and Wells. And there's a breaking ball for striking 0-2. And I'm sure what the thought process is here is you get him back into the game after he allowed a lead to get away last night, although he did strand the go-ahead run at second base, so at least he kept the game tied. He did that.
And but, you know, won in the 12th, so
they want him heading to the break feeling better about himself.
Well, he's such an important Jeremy Accardo getting loose for the Jays have a very deep bullpen, but Jim Johnson such. And right here is Exxon, veteran rookie, 25, 38.
So did you detect that they didn't agree on the pitch, so he went to talk about it?
I think so. Well, he has a good curveball. He has a good changeup, but his sinker. And there's a breaking ball.
Sounded like he broke his bat. Markakis has a play.
I don't even know what that pitch was. kind of like a slur. Usually the curveball a little bit over the top, but he gets away with it.
One away here in the 8th. Time now for you to text in your vote, the AT&T player of the game. And here are the candidates. Brad Bergeson in line for a win. Brian Roberts, good day at the plate. Oscar Salazar, hey, give him a start. He hits a home run. Text in your vote now and have your voice heard. A, B, or C to 51862. Ryan not only has 2 hits, he has 2 RBIs.
Well, I think the Orioles felt after the break, we won't get ahead of ourselves, but they would see the number of left-handers in Chicago. But apparently Jose Contreras is going to start one of the games. Same with Gavin Floyd, who's been on a roll.
Another fly ball to right. This one carries. Markakis back on it, and he reaches up and he has it for the out.
Yeah, it didn't look like Nick got a good read on it. Again, a lot of background here in the daytime, but able to run it down on the warning track. See right there, oh, I better get back, and he does. Terrific right fielder. He never loses sight of it for the second out. So it's Contreras to Gavin Floyd, 5-2 with an ERA of under 3 runs a game after starting and having a tough start. And then the rookie Clayton. I guess he's going to pitch game 3, so you won't see Danks. And Burley, I probably expected to. And that's surprising because I guess maybe he may pitch in the All-Star game because he made the ball club.
The Orioles will send Birkin Friday, Guthrie Saturday, Bergeson Sunday, and then David Hernandez will be recalled to pitch Monday in New York, which will be the second stop on that road trip. So that roster move that the Orioles were able to avoid by optioning Hernandez for this series to get Cesar Torres back on the roster, a position player will have to go. Good off-speed pitch there, Jim, and Wells swings through it.
Great off-speed pitch. Now there's the good curveball. Now what to throw? Curveball underneath the strike zone. Nope. I gave 2 and went down. That's usually. So Greg Zahn, you little tricky guy.
He fooled you.
Well, he did. Well, the idea, you can always fool me. I'm old, but you want to fool Wells at the plate. Just get him out. Don't have to fool him.
And there's a base hit to right field. All Wells was doing there was protecting the outside corner. And he has a 2-out single.
Well, Wells protected it well and singled into right field to get the tying run to the plate. And again, it's so imperative that Jim Johnson really pitches to the maximum level of his ability because you don't have a matchup lefty in the Oriole bullpen. I mean, you have Mark Henderson, who's done a great job, but he's more of a long man. A guy that would come in if starter has a problem, pitch 3rd, 4th, 5th innings.
Here's the tying run at the plate. Overbay fouls it back. Lyle Overbay has found a home in Toronto. He was originally drafted by Arizona in '99. He was then traded to Milwaukee, and it was in Milwaukee where he really established himself as a big leaguer. And then he was traded to Toronto for the '06 season. So he's in his 4th year there.
It's kind of funny because we saw him just really come very quickly. He's a good first baseman. He came in, fielded that ball, and made the out, so he knows what he's doing with the glove. And I think they felt that maybe he'd end up being into the mid-20s with home runs. And I certainly hope he hits one here. And Jim Johnson saying, how do I stay away from that happening? Well, you throw the sinker. But he loves the ball out over the plate, and he's strong to left center. We saw him double off the center field wall on a ball that looked like it may get out of here.
9 home runs on the year for Overbay. Swings through it.
Well, that's that sinker, and that's not a very good 2-1 swing when you have the advantage over the pitcher, but I think it says something about Jim Johnson's stuff. You're sitting on a fastball and you think it's going to stay around knee high, and it just goes under the strike zone.
So 2-2 on Overbay. And he got him. Down on strikes goes Overbay, and that ends the threat. So with a tying run at the plate, a huge strikeout for Jim Johnson. Bottom of the 8th coming up. The Orioles up by 2. in place here with the Orioles as they continue to build from within. And Steve Molesky on MASNsports.com talked with Aubrey Huff today, one of the veterans on this team, about the top teams in the division. And Aubrey said, you can't compare us to Boston. We're not going to go out and spend $200 million a year. That's an unfair comparison. Anyone can go out and spend $200 million on a team and win. So Aubrey feels we have to build from within our organization, develop our young guys, to get players from our farm system. And that's on MASNsports.com right now. Steve Molesky had the chat with Aubrey Huff, and that's exactly, Jim, what Andy McPhail is doing. You grow the arms, and if you're one piece away somewhere down the road and that one piece happens to be a position player, then you go out and spend. But you develop your players, you build the core, you get competitive first, then you get to the next phase of that, which is taking that core and getting it to contention.
Yeah, and I think you do that, and we've seen the Red Sox do it. Even though they don't spend $200 million, they spend $140, but they're trying to do it both ways. So you add the piece, you make a trade. They were able to take Hanley Ramirez as one of the best players in the National League and get Beckett and Lowell. So again, if you develop young players, especially pitching, they're always valuable. Jeremy Mercado coming in, and hard thrower.
Steve Molesky's exact question to Aubrey was, what is the difference between a team like the Orioles and a playoff team like the Red Sox? So Salazar against Mercado, and he takes another ball, 2-0. Well, the thing that's exciting, and again, until they're here and they're proven, you have to label them as prospects. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This league is just so tough, and this division is the toughest of the 6 divisions in baseball. But what is encouraging is at least the scouting reports of the players who are coming behind, as you saw George Sherrill there, they have as much or more talent of the ones who have already arrived. And I think it's even further encouraging all the scout friends that you have coming to you and telling you about guys they saw.
Well, not only telling me, raving. And you go back to when I came to the Orioles in 1965, we were a good team. I mean, I was just trying to find out why I could stay here at 19, but we had Brooks Robinson, we had Boog Powell, but we traded for Frank Robinson, took an established pitcher, Milt Pappas, who would go on to win 200 games. You got one of the best players ever in Frank Robinson. He made everybody better. Davey Johnson came up. Etcher Barron started catching. Paul Blair played center field. Eddie Watt came out of the minor leagues where he'd been a starting pitcher and went to the bullpen. So all of a sudden you go from a team that was a second place team in 1965 to winning your division, going to the World Series and winning 4 over the Dodgers. So that's that impact player you talked about.
Well, you saw Wieters on the bench. He's not playing today. Reimold, who will bat this inning, he's already here. And Salazar works a walk on a very close pitch. So Orioles have the leadoff man on in the 8th. You can keep up with the latest Orioles news on your favorite social networking sites, both Facebook and Twitter. Visit Facebook.com/Orioles. Become a fan of your Birds. You'll get the latest Orioles news. Plus, receive special ticket offers. Then you can visit Twitter.com/BirdlandInsider and follow the O's. You'll be the first to learn behind-the-scenes information straight from the team's communications department. All the Birdland news need, just a click away. So the Orioles now can play for an insurance run as a leadoff walk, and here's a ball to Wigginton.
Yeah, Cardo came in with 9 innings pitched and 7 walks. So, and this is a guy that back in 2007 had 30 saves for the Jays.
Bouncer to short. There should be 2. Scudero goes to second. Hill back to first. There's 2. As it goes 6-4-3, that erases the base runner and 2 men down. So at the moment, Sherrill has a 2-run game to protect, which is so much easier for a closer because that 2 have to get on to get that go-ahead run to the plate.
Or, in the words of Mike Messina, less difficult.
Here's Nolan Reimold, and he went to Stanford.
Well, I said one day, I said, is it easier to pitch with Key and Erickson and people like that? He said, Jim, it's never easy. And I said, okay, is it less difficult? I said, didn't say simpler because we know it's never simple either. With Ricardo at 95, and he's got the splitter. There it is right there. It tumbles. They have an awfully good bullpen. Last year, the best pitching staff in the American League. This year, all kinds of injuries. Really, they lost 4 starters. And they're still, done a decent job.
Their bullpen has an ERA of 4.02. That is 7th best in the league. Check swing.
Are those little pesky Red Sox still number 1?
Yes, they are. 14 wins and a 3.42 ERA.
And then Tampa Bay kind of creeping up.
Oh, 0-2 on Reimold. Too tight with a fastball.
I mean, how about Toronto? They lead the American League with 50 quality of starts, and they got another one today. So 51 over the first somewhat half of the season, or up until the All-Star break.
1-2 on Reimold, who is 1 out of 3. Reaches for the breaking ball, pops it up towards third. The shortstop Scudero calls. And Scudero has it for the out, so we'll head to the 9th inning. Sherrill getting set to come on. The Orioles 3 outs away from a win. On Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your next trip at southwest.com. Well, George Sherrill comes on. Jim, they're in the save to try to finish off a strong first half.
Yeah, and he's been excellent. Changed his windup about 2 months ago. Struggled early on in the year. Not a particularly good spring training, but he has pitched extremely well. A year ago, he was getting ready to pack his bag to go to New York. Had 28 saves in the first half of last season for the All-Star game. Ended up pitching over 2 innings in that American League win in Yankee Stadium. Last game, at least the All-Star game, played in old Yankee Stadium. So he comes in today. Not going to the All-Star game. He'll get 3 days off, but would certainly like to close the door on the Jays and allow the Orioles to win 2 out of 3.
Defensive change as well. Felix Pie comes on. He replaces Nolan Reimold in left field. Felix, who has had very little playing time as of late. In fact, he hasn't had an at-bat since July the 1st. He's in the game in left. And here's Alex Rios to lead off against Sherrill.
So their mission is to get a guy on. Bring the tying run to the plate. And there's a strike.
So Rios looking for his first hit. He is 0 for 2. He has drawn a walk. Breaking ball bends outside. 1-1. So the Orioles got 2 out of 3 in Seattle to close out the road trip after losing 3 of 4 to the Angels. And they're 3 outs away from getting 2 out of 3 from Toronto. So they have a chance to go into the break on a positive note.
Of course, everybody loses to the Angels now. What was that stat about the Yankees? They've lost 16 of the last 21. In Anaheim, 31 of the last 47 to the Angels.
Jose Bautista has come out on deck.
Yeah, last night's left fielder will come in to pinch hit.
1-2 is fouled off. Cito Gaston obviously goes with a strict platoon because DeLucci had an RBI double his last at bat, but with the left-hander on the mound, he'll go to Bautista. 1-2 on Rios. Hard hit ball foul.
Inside middle hitter. High ball hitter. Keep it out of that zone.
George Sherrill 17 out of 20 in his save opportunities. Off speed pitch, he lays off 2-2.
Yeah, you could see him get out on that front foot, but George just couldn't locate that outside corner.
Defensive swing, and he fouled it off to stay alive.
Well, that's what hitting with 2 strikes is all about. Can you cut your swing down? Can you live in the moment, which is basically, if I get on, we got a chance to tie it up. I mean, Rios is only the 3rd run, but it presents an opportunity to put pressure on the Orioles.
Another foul ball. The Blue Jays finishing up on the road. This is a long road trip for Toronto, and it's been a tough road trip for them. They're 2-7 on the verge of going 2-8 over the 10 games. And just got a piece.
Well, they had a great start. They won 27 out of the first 41, so they're 27-14. Had a 9-game losing streak. That was on the road. I mean, they come in 19-27 away. Hit real well with runners in scoring position early, and then that ceased. That's why the number's down at 261. The league average is usually right around 270, so they were up at 300, now down at 260.
2-2 is fouled off, so a prolonged at bat, already 11 pitches in. And Alex Rios is still up.
Well, George doesn't want to go to 3-2. And that's the amazing thing about, you come out of the bullpen, you're a closer, you really have to trust your stuff. You got to be able to throw it over. A lot of curveballs, and once again,
check swing and no appeal. Dale Scott doesn't ask. He felt he saw it in time, so there's the 3-2 count.
Yeah, Greg Zahn moves in, and George lets one go up and away. Rios thought about swinging at it.
Here comes the 3-2. High foul. That'll be back in the crowd.
See what, because what happens if he gets on? Not only does the tying run come to the plate, but all of a sudden, if you're Dave Tremblay, you have to make a decision. Do I want my first baseman? He'll be holding the runner on, so he'll be covering the line. Do I want Moore to play the line, take away the double? But until somebody gets on, you can play conventional defense. You can see Melvin way off the line, playing where you normally would play him. Some managers are advocates. Boy, we're just not going to give him a double. We'll give him a single to our left, but take away the double.
High fly ball to center field. Adam Jones back on it. One down in the 9th inning. Here's an update on the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game. Brad Bergeson on the verge of his 6th win, 86%. Ryan Roberts, 10%. Oscar Salazar, 4%. Still have time to text in your vote and have your voice heard. A, B, or C to 51862. And Tom and Rick will have the results coming up on O's Extra postgame. So here is Jose Bautista now to pinch hit for DeLucci.
Boy, terrific job by George Sherrill to able to get Alex Rio, who was very stubborn at the plate.
And as a result, that tying run is still on deck.
And you can play conventional defense. Got to make sure that Bautista doesn't bunt one. Melvin about 4 steps. Not that he's known for bunting.
Bouncer past the mound. Roberts back of the bag. He's got it. And 2 down. And Sherrill trying to convert his 20th save as an out away.
Yeah, Batista high ball hitter, and he makes a good pitch, gets the ground ball. And well defense by Brian Roberts playing up the middle.
Here's Rod Barajas, his first at bat. He took over for Chavez, who was lifted for a pinch runner. Toronto has only one player left on the bench, and that's Kevin Millar. Fans are on their feet at Oriole Park. There's a strike. Slow ground ball to short. Cesar Astores knowing the catcher runs, takes his time, and the Orioles win it. Ferguson gets his 6th. Sherrill gets his 20th